Hey everyone, this is Ben Rubago, the Military and Group Specialist from the National Mobility Center, reaching out to our military population. I'm telling you we're here for you, and we're hoping you're doing all right in this time. If you have any questions or concerns about rec programs you guys can do from afar, please reach out. We'd love to provide that for you. And in the meantime, I've attached a chair yoga video to the end of this that we came up with for you, so please use that. Ask us if you have any questions about it. Stay healthy, stay connected. Please keep following us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. We're here for you guys.
Hi everybody, I'm Emily, and I'm going to help you guys through a chair yoga routine today. So before we get started, I want to let you know that I will always encourage you to take things at your own pace. So if you feel your body straining, you feel any pain, or you feel yourself holding your breath as we're going through these exercises today, I would encourage you to take a break. Either come out of that pose, relax your muscles for a moment, or take a big exhale before you begin to breathe again. For those of you who have a spinal cord injury, maybe some of you with a missing limb, I would also encourage you to work in whatever adaptations are most appropriate for your body. I'm going to be teaching this at a beginner level, so hopefully the things that I'm teaching enable you to find your best pose during our practice today. So we're going to just start by kind of grounding and breathing. So for those of you that need to find a chair, what I would highly recommend is something that if you can find a chair with a back, that's amazing. Preferably one with no arms, and something that sits flat. So you can get a good firm seat down into your sit bones and feel really grounded in all of the postures today, okay? So as you come into a sitting position, I'm gonna have you scoot kind of towards the front of your chair. And for those of you that have a little bit more limited mobility or maybe are missing a limb, feel free to just scoot back. And if your chair has a back, you might feel a little more grounded by leaning into it while also pushing down into your sit bones. But today, for those of you that's comfortable, I'll lead you in coming forward a bit. So you're gonna sit with your knees just about hip width apart. And as I said, it might be comfortable to rock a little bit from side to side to feel your sit bones connecting with the chair beneath you. And then spread your toes out on the ground in front of you if you can. I know it feels a little funny. And then kind of rock on all four corners, front and back, until you feel really grounded in your feet here. And then if it's comfortable for you, I would encourage you to spread your fingers wide and just place them on your upper thighs or maybe on the sides of your chair, just to feel yourself again feeling very grounded in this posture. And we're going to start by bringing awareness to our breath. So as you find yourself seated here, I want you to do what we call a square breath. So in a square breath, you're going to breathe in through your nose to the count of 2. Hold your breath for 2 counts. 1, 2, and then exhale out of your mouth for 2 more counts, and then hold for 2 counts. So it's in, 1, 2, hold, 1, 2, exhale, 1, 2, and hold for 1, 2. And now we're going to start by connecting with our movement. So what I want you to do is start by just taking one of your shoulders, I'm starting with my left, and just rotating it up, back, down the spine, and bringing it forward again, up, back, and down the spine. I just want to take it here maybe 5 or 6 times to start loosening up the muscles in the upper body while staying really grounded through the feet and the sit bones. If it's comfortable for you and you really want to visualize the movement, you can feel free to take your other arm and kind of help bring some of the movement into that arm, if that's helpful for you. And we're we're gonna go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhale, switch, and again, we're gonna start by circling that opposite shoulder back. So we're gonna be bringing it up to the ear, back towards the posterior part of the body, down the spine, forwards, up towards the neck, back, down the spine. And keep doing that movement again, about 4 or 5 more times now. Remembering to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Alright, so next we're going to be taking it into a modified cat-cow pose. So I want you to come back to center with your shoulders, taking a deep breath. Bring your shoulders up towards your neck and then exhale them down into your spine. I'm gonna have you bring those shoulders, extend them back just a little bit more, opening your chest and pushing through your heart center out to the middle. You'll start to feel an arch in your back. If that's comfortable movement for you to do, feel free to give a little more arch, moving your hips, tilting your hips even a little more forward in your chair. It's gonna elongate the stretch for you and you'll begin feeling it in your lower back. For those of you with a spinal cord injury, it just might be more comfortable to stay here, moving those shoulders back and just arcing at the top of your spine. And then on your exhale, we're gonna try and round that back out as much as possible, and I'll try and give you a visual of that to the side. So when we're arcing our back, we wanna bring our hands to the knees or somewhere out as far as we can reach in front of us. Arcing the back, bringing the crown of our head forward and kind of tucking our chin to give our shoulders a really good stretch. And then inhale, rolling those shoulders back again. For those of you that feel comfortable to do so, you can rock those hips forward and just give yourself an even more intense stretch through the back. Again, exhale, bringing yourselves back into that cow pose, or cat pose. And then inhale, and exhale. So I'm gonna come back to center here, and I'm gonna have you all take a deep breath in. We're gonna reach those arms up, pushing through the crown of your head. For those with limb differences, just extending through the crown of the head, reaching towards the ceiling with your full upper body while still keeping those toes, heels, sides, and front backs of feet really grounded. Take a breath here and exhale. We're gonna fold down into the mat. Just take it as low as you can go so you feel your body just sort of draped over your lower half. And take a breath. This is kind of a modified child's pose, so I would encourage that if at any point you feel yourself becoming a little winded or something becomes a little bit uncomfortable for you during this practice, if this is comfortable for you to return here or back to that comfortable seated position where you feel yourself grounding and return to that square breath. If that's what you can do, I encourage you to do it. So we're gonna take a couple more of these deep breaths. In, arms up. Exhale. Coming down to the mat. Just letting yourself feel that stretch. You may have a little stretch in your groin. You're gonna feel your back expanding. You're gonna feel your head just kind of letting loose. You can kind of rock it from side to side if that's comfortable for you. I don't encourage you to twist your head here. Breathing in, bringing those arms back up. And then exhale down to the mat. In this next pose, inhale. come back to your seated position. I want you to take one arm, wrap it across to the opposite elbow, and do the same with your other arm. Now what I want you to do is just sort of gently pull on your opposite elbow. For instance, as I'm turning to this right side, I'm pulling on my left elbow to make that twist possible, and vice versa. So as I'm pulling myself to my left side, I'm pulling on that right elbow. And just let yourself feel a stretch here if it's comfortable for you to make this one synced movement from side to side. That's wonderful. If it feels better to just simply pull the arm and do a little twist, that's okay too. Do whatever is most comfortable for you today. Point of this is to relax, right? Also, my dog is wandering around a little bit, so you might see him coming and going in our little yoga flow today. Okay, so I want you to twist in your chair a little bit here. We're gonna try to do a little bit of a modified pose here. So when you come into the side of your seat, I want you to make sure that your right leg, your right femur is completely supported by your chair, right? So I don't have to do any work. The chair is taking all of my weight right now. What I am gonna do to give myself a little bit of a stretch is I am going to bring this leg right down to the mat. And all this is gonna do, it's gonna help open up my lower back, and it's going to help me get into a warrior pose, okay? Now, so I don't want you to take it there just yet. I would encourage you just to come down onto a knee if that feels comfortable for you. And again, your weight is supported by your chair, okay? About half in this right sit bone that's on the chair, and then about half in the left knee that's on the ground, okay? And so what I'll have you do here is just inhale and circle your arms up. And then as you exhale, I want you to bring your arms down to heart center. And I want you to really focus on pushing down into the knee and pushing down into your front foot here in a way that you can feel that your groin kind of starts to open up a little, and you'll feel a good quad stretch here. What I've done is I've actually just pointed my back toes so I can really dig those into the mat. And so if you're pushing between those toes and your front foot here, hands at heart center, you begin to kind of feel the weight come off of your right femur sitting on this chair. So I'll have you take a couple breaths here, okay? In through the nose, and out through the mouth. Again, push through those toes in the front and the back, trying to force your two legs apart. You'll feel a good stretch in your quad. You'll feel a stretch in your lower back as well. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's take one more breath here. In through the nose and out through the mouth. At this point, you can come back to seated here, and I want you to just take it down to the mat and take a couple breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just let your back stretch open. For those of you that would like to take this stretch a little bit further, I encourage you to come back down to kneeling. And then I'm gonna have you scoot to the side so you're fully supported, and then bring that leg around so that your toes are so your toes, your back foot is gonna be parallel to the end of your mat, flat on the ground, and then your front foot is going to be parallel to the side of your mat, pointed forwards, right? So my feet are kind of like this at this point. And again, already right here, I have a really deep groin stretch right now. And so I'm gonna bring my arms up and exhale those shoulders down. I'm just gonna take a couple breaths here while I'm pushing into the heel of my front foot and working on planting into the toes in the back, right? Just engage all of the muscles in your legs there. Then next I'll have you come back to a kneeling position. If everyone would join us in that position now, coming back to kneeling, we're gonna take it into a modified half moon. So what I'll have you do here is first place your right arm on your right knee to bring a little stability. And then I'm gonna have you reach that left arm back and just breathe here in through the nose and out through the mouth. And in through the nose and out through the mouth. For those of you that want a more intense stretch, you're welcome to bring that foot back. So we're in that modified warrior one pose, and bring your arm down in the front and then stretch over in the back. Inhaling up. Exhale, reaching that left arm down towards your back foot and your right arm arced up like a dancer in front of you. Just breathing into the side body. Exhaling that air out, coming back down, and then coming back down to that kneeling position. Bringing those legs together. Taking a deep breath in, bring those arms overhead. And then exhale, down into a forward fold. Really let your back go here. Feel yourself grounded and allow those muscles just to take a little rest. And I'm still focused on my breathing here, making sure that I'm taking a good clean inhale through my nose. And then exhaling all of that stale energy out through my mouth. All right. Our exhale, we're gonna bring our arms back up. Exhale our hands to heart center. And we're gonna walk ourselves over step by step to the opposite side of our chair or our stool. And again, I'm gonna ask you to take your right knee now down into a kneel. So here, just as a reminder, my left femur is fully supported by the chair underneath me, and I'm even more stable now by having my knee grounded into the earth next to my stool. And I am gonna take my back toe, pop it up so that I can get some good traction to push forward on. And then I'm gonna make sure that my heel and all other corners of my foot are planted firmly in the mat in front of me, so that as I come into this stretch, I can push down into those points in my feet, and I can feel a really good stretch in the quad, in my glutes, and I'm feeling an opening in my hip. Now again, if this is painful, take it off the stretch a little bit and just focus on balancing, grounding down into the knee, grounding down into the earth while you breathe here. Again, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, for those of you that would like to take a short break here and stretch that back muscle out, feel free to come down and just take a couple breaths in your chair here. Some of you may want to try to take that next step try to take this stretch a little further if it's comfortable for you. So I would ask you to, again, come back to that kneeling position. Find stability here. Pop that toe up. Again, you're pushing, finding stability so you're not completely dependent on your stool or your chair. And then you can slowly twist that foot out and plant it on the mat behind you. You're going to feel a pretty intense groin stretch here through the back, through the front, and your hips are sort of twisted open, right? Ideally, we want our hips to be open to the side. So we bring our arms up, our shoulders are just over our hips, and we're breathing. Palms down here, pushing through the front and back feet, feeling that groin stretch. Feeling activation in the calf, feeling activation in the front quad. Feeling activation in your core, helping you stay and maintain the stability. Take one more breath in, arms up. And then exhale, bringing those arms back to heart center. Then I'm gonna have you slowly come back down into this kneeling position. We are gonna take that modified posture here. So we're bringing our left arm down to our left knee, and we're gonna bring our arm up and then exhale it, open behind us. So you should feel this stretch in your shoulder. You will feel this stretch in your lower back. Take a couple breaths here. When you're ready, lift those arms up, come back down to heart center. For those of you that are ready for a good deep back stretch again, I encourage you to come down into this forward fold position and just rest. Let your head hang out down in front of you, and remember to take that square breath. Then quick for those of you that want to intensify your stretch over here just a bit more, we're gonna come back into that warrior one pose. My foot pointed towards the camera, and then my left foot here pointed up front towards the mat. I am going to come into warrior one, breathing, bringing my arms up. Exhale, bringing my front arm down and just leaning into that stretch with your back hand. Take a breath here. Really remember, this is a pose where you want to be still pushing into both the front and back feet. Take one more breath here. Then we're going to inhale, bringing those arms up in front of you, and then exhale that hand back down to your back thigh. Then your left hand's going to come over the top, just to give a good stretch to your front body. And then make sure that as you're breathing into that front body for yourself, giving yourself a good elongated stretch. Exhaling down, back to warrior one. You can come back to kneeling, and then slowly walk yourself back to that forward fold position. Take a good deep breath in, and then exhale down to the floor. Let your head hang. You can grab either elbow, and we would call this ragdoll. So here you can just kind of think of your body just completely hunched over, completely slumped over, and all of your attention is just going towards the floor. It's gonna allow you to feel a good stretch in those glute muscles that we worked a lot in those stretches we were just doing. So really sink into this stretch. Remember to breathe here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, if it's comfortable to sort of rock your head from side to side, I encourage you to do that. Just that side to side movement takes a little focus when your head is upside down. I do not encourage you to twist when you're down in that position, just tilting from one shoulder to the other shoulder while you're down in this ragdoll position here. And I'm gonna have you inhale, come back up here. We're gonna roll out our ankles. So if it's comfortable for you to just do that on the ground, you can feel free to do so. If you would like to continue stretching your glutes and it's accessible for you, you can grab just the back of your thigh here, keeping your posture nice and firm, crown towards the ceiling, and we're just gonna roll that ankle here while holding a slight stretch in that leg. I'm just trying to kind of loosen things up now. Remembering to breathe. Okay, when you're ready and you feel that you've rolled that ankle out enough, you can go ahead and switch to the opposite side. So here you'll see me doing my left. And again, if it's comfortable for you to just keep rolling your ankle here on the ground, you can feel free to stay there. If you would like to, and it's accessible for you, you can pull this left leg up by just grabbing on behind the leg here, hugging it into your chest slightly while you hold that posture, crown towards the ceiling, and just rolling that ankle. Breathing all the while, in through the nose and out through the mouth. I've been a little sick this last week, so you can probably hear my breath a little more than usual. And for those of you that are having a hard time breathing through your nose, maybe because of the seasonal allergies that are happening, or just all the sickness in general, just focus on breathing through your mouth. You don't need to let yourself get caught up in trying to breathe through something that's just not working. That doesn't help anyone. Great, you can bring that down towards the ground. Just gonna roll out our wrists here. And then for those of you that can, I'm gonna ask you again to hug this leg up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually tuck it over top this way, and we're literally just gonna sit here in a stretch. So for those of you with limb differences, it might even just help to rotate that leg out to the side, and you can hold it and cradle it here if that's helpful. But I just want to sit here in this stretch and breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, making sure to maintain that posture as you breathe in. Rolling the shoulders up and then exhale them down the spine, sinking into that groin and glute and quad stretch that you're feeling over here on the side. Take a deep breath in. Hug that leg. Exhale it down to the ground. Then we're gonna go ahead and inhale, grabbing this leg on the opposite side, and then exhale, rotating when your hip in order to cross that one leg over the other, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel the stretch again, right? In your glute, in your groin, in your quad, and holding that posture with your crown towards the ceiling. Breathing in, shrug your shoulders up, roll them back down the spine as you exhale. Take one more breath here. And how you inhale, untuck that leg, exhale it down to the ground. Okay, so last thing we're gonna do here is a twist before we go into our resting pose. So what I'm gonna have you do is reach your arms out to either side, and then I'm gonna have you reach reach that left arm over towards the right side of your chair. If that's comfortable for you, please keep it there. I don't need you to go any farther. For those of you that are comfortable here and would like to do a deeper stretch, you can feel free to reach your right arm out back. And I'll show you what that looks like from the side. Reaching that right arm back out behind you and looking out at the thumb on the right side body. And then exhale, bringing it back to center. Taking it into a forward fold quick. And then inhaling, bringing it back up to center. And then bringing those arms up. Exhale, bringing the opposite arm to the opposite side of your chair. If it's comfortable here and you want to extend your stretch, you can feel free to reach that other arm back. For me, it's my left arm and I'm looking over my left shoulder, down the arm to the thumb. Breathing here into that left side body. Just letting yourself get a good stretch. Coming back to center. Reaching those hands up and then exhale. Down into forward fold. Now at this point in the practice, I would welcome you to stay here if it's comfortable for you and you want to get the most out of your stretch. For those of you who have a back to your chair, I would encourage you to lean back into your chair at this time, closing your eyes. And I want you to sink down into whatever posture you choose for Shavasana, because this is intended to be a time of rest and relaxation and rejuvenation for you after a very wonderful and energizing practice. So we want to get some healing from this. So as you're laying in your posture, I want you to focus on letting all of the muscles in your body relax. I always start at the crown of my head. And I envision a ray of light that circles around the top of my head with my breath. It moves as I breathe in through my nose, and I breathe out through my mouth. I can see it pulse with my breath. As it goes over the crown of my head, I can feel it sinking and lessening any stress or tension that I have there over my eyebrows, my eyes, my nose, ears, the roof of the mouth, in my jaw, in my neck, in my shoulders. Breathing in and exhaling all that tension. I see this ray of light now traveling down either arm. It's giving me a little more bend in my elbow as my muscles relax and release. My wrists go numb, and then each finger and every joint relaxes as tension is released. I see the ray of light travel over my heart. Any tension in my chest is released and my chest is open. In my belly, I can feel my belly relax. Any muscles in my sit bone region, my pelvis, I feel all of those muscles just relax and sink deeper into my seat. My knees fall out to the side. My ankles release the tension. I can feel my heels melting into the floor. I feel the tension dripping from every single one of my toes, starting with the pinky all the way up to the big toe. And take a breath here. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. And I encourage you to continue practicing that square breathing technique we talked about earlier. 2 counts of breath in. Hold for 2. 2 counts out. Hold for 2. And repeat. So this is the end of my practice. I appreciate you all for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you'd like to share, please reach out to the staff at the National Ability Center, and they will get the information to me, and we'd be more than happy to help you. I hope you all are well and stay safe, stay inside, and have a great rest of your week.